people that talk to, you know, that go.
All right, I'll call this meeting the Brown County Commission to order. We'll start with the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. First on the agenda, we've got Ordinance 105, the Fonder rezone, first reading. Everybody have that in front of them?
Yes.
Okay, it's petitions to rezone from Ag Preservation District to Mini Ag. It's lots 1 and 2, Bigler Richmond Lake 3rd Subdivision. The street address is 126-694 and 126-998 East Shore Drive. This is first reading.
Okay, is there anyone here to speak on this first reading?
I'd move it.
Moved by Fishback,
Second.
seconded by Sutton. Questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Motion carries. All right, you want them back?
I can.
Okay.
We'll have them next week too.
Okay.
Okay.
Leave them?
I'll keep
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Sure you guys won't lose them by next week?
No guarantee.
All right, we'll go to your list next.
Minutes, October 4, general.
Move.
Moved by Sutton.
Second.
Seconded by Feldheim. Any questions or changes on those minutes? Yep, is that the wrong date?
No, that's right.
Okay.
That she said 4th.
Oh, did you say 4th or 11th?
I'm sorry, it's 11th.
11th, okay.
Yeah.
So, on the 11th, any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Motion carries.
Claims and payroll.
Move.
Moved by Feldheim, seconded by Hanson. Questions on that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Motion carries.
The HR report, now Aaron brought over the mileage report.
Yep, we attached
Part
it.
of it. Okay, so that'll be included.
Okay, any concerns or questions on the HR report?
Move it.
Moved by
Second.
Sutton, seconded by Fishback. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Motion carries.
Auditors report of account.
Moved by Hanson,
Second.
seconded by Feldheim. Any questions on that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Motion carries.
I had included in the packet, this is just information, any budget on September 30th that was over the 75% spending level. So just for your review.
No, I'm glad you did that. Thank you very much.
I wonder, should we also, I mean, they're aware of that, right? Should we send it to those departments too with a highlighted note to watch?
Do they get it monthly anyway, don't they?
They get it monthly, but
Is there anything else to just make sure that, to draw attention to it a little bit?
Hopefully our department heads are smart enough to read their own.
the only one I'm really concerned about is 524.
Okay.
Which one's that one?
Yeah.
There. I was wondering about that.
Okay. All right, any questions on that?
Okay. The Centennial Village report came in, but there's no 2016 fair report. That's the 2005 report.
15.
15. And I left a voicemail to bring the 16 up, but we did deposit money in the thing.
And the amount paid to the county was that 11,000?
No, that's last year. The amount this year. It got buried.
Oh, I didn't see it underneath there.
Yeah, was 11,575.
Almost the same, huh?
Yep.
Yeah,
400 less.
yeah, but there's no report to substantiate.
Okay, so you've left him a message?
Yeah, I'll call him again.
Okay. Because I don't know about you, but I couldn't make these numbers from last year's add up.
I didn't really look at them.
Okay. We don't have to do
I
anything
was-
with it today, we just
Right,
talked to him
just
about it.
information.
Thank you.
Would it be appropriate to make a motion to earmark those funds for the ongoing potential improvements at the fairground? Add to the amount. I think we have around 61,000 in there.
Right.
Just to earmark that for special projects.
Which would include Centennial, right?
Right.
I would, if you want to make that motion, I'd second it. Can we
I'll
do
make that motion if it's an appropriate motion.
Okay,
Very good
motion
idea.
by Sutton, seconded by Hanson. Any questions on the motion?
So how many years can you do that without spending it, or does it matter?
That would be to assign the, in the fund balance, it'd be an assigned fund balance.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
For fairgrounds improvements.
Is there a limit on that, Max? Is it 7 years or?
That's different.
Okay. I didn't
That's
know.
a specific project
Okay.
that you're
It'd
accumulating
be,
cash
this
for.
way we could just keep doing it, right?
Right, and you can change your mind anytime.
yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can always pull it out of that designated fund or earmarked fund.
Assigned,
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. That way they know that we're trying to build that fund for
Capital
substantial
improvements.
capital improvement.
Right.
Right.
Sounds good. Any questions on that motion?
Enough for one row of bleachers, huh?
Do they, is there a discrepancy as far as when is fair and what's intended to visit, what part of money goes in? Is there gonna be a problem down the road when somebody says, well, we put this in, they only put that in? Is that gonna be designated as far as, because I can see that going down the road, that somebody's gonna question where their money went, and somebody's gonna say, this is where their money's at, and I just wonder if there's a way to, or do you just put it in one pot and live
Well, I
with it?
think it's just for fairgrounds, potential fairground capital improvements, whatever that might
They
be.
can argue where it's spent later.
Right, right.
So the ultimate, we'll decide it.
So far, we can say thanks to Centennial Village.
Exactly.
Well, I guess that's where I was going with that, is what was the profit line for?
Maybe it'll encourage others to have a profit.
Okay, any other questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. That brings us up to 8:50. We've got Sue Gates, the museum director, and Paul Stevenson to discuss their website. Is Sue with us?
I don't know if they were in there or.
Come on in.
They voting in there? I think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Still undecided.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning,
Good
how are you
morning.
guys?
Good. I don't know if you all know our office manager, Tricia Kendall.
Thanks for
She came
coming.
along for the details. Well, I just wanted to present a proposal to you about expanding our museum website from the presence that it has now within the county. It's an okay presence, but it needs to be more functional, not only for us, but for the world in general, where we can have more online activity and conversation between the viewers and us. If you want to register and pay for a workshop, you can do it right there. Click, fill, send, boom, you're done. Which we can't do now. We have to, print out the form, mail it in. It's just kind of clunky for those young people who are used to everything online. We would like to be able to do more with highlighting our collection, which is the way of the museum world these days, is everything is on their website, and for research purposes, it's just there for anybody, whether they're from Brown County or Paris, France. They can access what we have. And we have some limitations on our current site. We can't quite do some of those things. So the initial conversation, I brought Paul in and kind of told him what we would like to do and asked him if the back end of the website was capable of doing that. And he said yes, it was. And so he said, kind of draw out what you'd like to have, and we'll have another conversation. At that point, I brought Gary and Dwayne in, kind of went through what we were thinking, and again, yes, we should be able to do this in-house. And so our goal over the summer was, by direction of these three, was to look at some websites of other museums or other places that we liked and get some examples to show them what could be done, and could that be done here. And so we did that. And just had another meeting last week about this, and really had drawn up some concrete plans about how we'd like to see this happen. Of course, you're the last word on that, but I think I'll turn it over to Patty, because she's the one that has done the research. I have somebody on staff now who would take care of this. Part of the downfall of any website is keeping it current, and when you have to ship it off to somebody, you're on their time frame, not necessarily your time frame. So what I'm understanding from Paul is that he would set up a template to cover our needs, and we would have basically the right to then put upload the information, with him just doing an occasional tweak, like this link doesn't work, or we need to do something here or there. But we would be the one that would keep this current and vital. So why don't you tell them what you found out?
Well, and for us, we're realizing that museum websites really are the first stop. So you're in a town you haven't been in, you want to know what there is to do, you're going to look online, you're going to look on your phone, and as our millennials come along, that's the only way they find out their information. So we have a limited time to capture and engage their attention. And right now, our current website, and we have some Google Analytics on it, they spend about a minute plus a little on our website, our museum website, and about 45 seconds on our granary website before they leave. So they look at the first page. They're not looking much beyond that. So that's what they see, and then they move on. We were talking before is that we want to have a web presence, because a web presence is almost as important as our building. And we're putting it the same value almost, for engaging visitors, for bringing them in, and for increasing visitation to our museum. So we did go and we looked at some other county museum websites, we looked at some state museum websites, and we found them to be very engaging. And Cottington County, which is a county-supported website, and I don't know if you can see it if I move it up, or if I give it to Sue here, you look at it and it's very vibrant, it's very bright, very engaging. South Dakota Air and Space Museum, they also have a very lively, when you go on there it's almost dramatic, Air and Space, and it's really fun to look at. Now here at Deadwood combines all of their museums into one website, so you can go wherever you want. And then also the South Dakota State Historical Society. And when you look on there too, it's a museum website. You know that you're going there and what you're looking at. And here's Siouxland too, and they are specifically county supported museums.
And all of these, especially Siouxland, when you go to Minnehaha County and you click museum, this is where you go, and there's no note of county business, doesn't say burn ban, buy your fare tickets here. It's simply museum business.
It is.
And that's what we would kind of like to see.
We're part of the county, but we provide unique services within the county. We're not necessarily a county department where you're going to find a form so that you can fill it out so you can pay your tax on this, or find out what the restrictions are on that. We're unique within the county, so we want to reflect that. But also, if we do change this and set a new format, we want to set a good example. I don't know if that's the way I want to say it, but we want to set a high standard. That's what I meant to say. And so if other non-regular departments in the county want to have a similar website, if we could set the standard and set a high standard for them to follow, that would be I think it'd be good for the county too. So there are many things that we can do. We can set up some standard which look very nice, very neat and tidy. I also did some examples with our information. We want to expand our information. When you go to our website or our landing page, you don't necessarily see all the things that we can do in a real engaging manner. So here are just some examples of what I could do. And then yesterday I worked on one where it could be pretty spectacular, where we could go in and it would be the wow factor. And then people would want to dive in and look at our collection. They would want to read the stories about some of our artifacts, or maybe about our building, which is our most interesting artifact, I would say, that we have.
And then also on the home page would be, the link to our Facebook, our Yelp, our Twitter, our Instagram would all be on that home page, so that you could just directly connect yourself to
Is
that.
that Siouxland one, is that Sioux Falls?
That's Sioux Falls.
Does it even say the name of the city?
It says, yeah, it's Siouxland Heritage Museum.
And, right.
I know, but it doesn't say
It
the
doesn't
city.
say Sioux Falls, no.
It is. So, and Paul did print off, here's our website, and maybe we could do something more engaging. So if you look at this, and you see the space that we have within the screen, although, this might be a little deceptive the way it printed, this is it. This is it for us. So if you landed on here, and you scroll down, and you scroll down, and you scroll down, what are you looking for? Well, you have to look over here for it. And also, if you wanted to go to our home page after you click another page, there's no home button. It's very difficult to navigate, and so we want to have ease of that too. I think what it comes down to is what are the expectations of the people who visit our website as a museum. They have an expectation. If you're doing county business, I want to go to the county website, I want it to be very laid out, I want to go to this department and do this. But for the museum, it's more of a exploratory experience, and so let's make it a pleasurable experience for them, and then they visit, and then they come and see us, and then maybe they go back later and check out our website later to see what new exhibits we have or new events or activities.
How many hits are you guys getting on the website now? Any idea?
We do.
Yeah. So in the past month, we've had 819 searches for our website, and most of those, they wanted to look at our pictures. 745. All they wanted to do was view our pictures. So we got to have some really good pictures there. So that's searches. But for visits, we had 379 visits to our website in the last 30 days. And so on average, they looked at 2 pages, 2.39 pages, but 60% of visitors to our website looked at the first page and left, and that was it. A minute, 14 seconds is about as long as we can hold their attention right now. Now for our granary website, it's even less. Like I said, about 45 seconds they're on our site, and about 76% just look at the first page and they're gone. And the granaries, that could be a real in-depth look. There's so much going on. It's such an interesting space, even though it has a short season.
So I think what we're asking is permission to work within the confines of the existing website, but to basically jazz up our section of it and get rid of the rest of the county business on there. And it's just a full screen museum website, because this is it could be one of our best promotional tools, and right now you can see by the numbers it's just not. It's hard to find, it's hard to navigate, and after talking to Paul, he said these problems could be solved if it's okay with this body.
The reason I told Sue we needed to bring it to commission was when we redid the website to its current state, that was the thing. We took a bunch of websites that were all over the place, brought them into one specific format. It was my feeling that to step outside of that, the exception would have to be made by you guys as the policymakers, because essentially you set the policies when we did that website.
Well, looking at it, I don't know why we can't have a wow factor. Maybe minimize this a little and put this right below. I mean, if you want to get rid of the Brown County on top, is that what you're...
It takes up a lot of space. We would like to, go to Brown County. If you go to the museum website, this is what you see.
Now you see, what do you normally do when you're on a website when you want to go back to the home page? You click the top. Where does it take you when you click Brown
If you
County?
go to Dakota Prairie here, it'll take you back to the home. But if you go here, then it's Brown County's home.
Yes. And if you click our logo, it doesn't do anything.
On the department?
Here.
No, where our logo.
Yeah.
So you have to go down to the right side and click Dakota Prairie Museum, and it'll take you back there. It's not as intuitive. And if you're trying to figure out how to navigate our website, perhaps you're done with our website. You've moved on. And I'm just thinking what the attention span is of our visitors, our younger families who have, I'm going to make a decision now.
I'm driving in on Highway 12. I'm clicking to see what's going on in town. And if
You're clicking while you're driving?
Yes, I am. You didn't hear that. Yeah. So, you know, mom is clicking through her phone while dad's coming in, and the kids are doing. We want to do something. Well, what's to do in this town? Well, they look at this, and I think they're just moving on because it's just not.
And those are outside eyes. We
Yeah.
see our website every day, and we look at it every day, and so we know what it can do and where we need to go. But you have to think about if you've never seen our website or the county website.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
For Paul, I guess. When I'm looking at the website here, Paul, would it be possible to have a Dakota Prairie Museum home button? When you come to this, click on that so that they have the whole screen.
Yes.
Is that possible? Then you can do everything you want to do. Because right now that doesn't happen.
Correct. And, you know, that was just something when it was built that wasn't put in for any of the departments. Simple programming change.
Okay.
But, I mean, that's the thing. Do we want to go? I have no problem. You know, it's, like I said, it's up to you because the initial website discussion years ago was everything under the Brown County hat, so we all look the same. So if we're going to step out of that, then I'd like you guys to make a decision. It's not a problem either way. Do we need to come in the middle of the road and kind of have half and half?
Because when I searched for it, I just typed in Dakota Prairie Museum. It took me right to here, which is ours, but it features the museum.
It goes to their
So if you could
homepage,
click
correct.
then on Dakota Prairie Museum home, then all
It
of
would go
this
to-
stuff
Right,
would be
right.
We certainly
filled.
want to be through the
Right,
county.
right.
We want
Right.
to, you could be directly there, or if you went to the county website, you can also get to us.
Right. And that would be just one more click to get you to all the colorful stuff you want to provide, I think.
And then one thing that Sue keeps bringing up and wants to get rid of is when we do a burn ban or fair tickets, our alerts that are on our homepage, which we can take off of her page. I mean, we can,
People want to decide whether they need to go to the auditor's office or the treasurer. They're not clicking on the museum.
correct.
Right.
That's a unique.
That's it, right. And believe it or not, last summer, when it says buy fair tickets, we had calls about, because it was on the top of our page. And I said, where are you getting this information? Well, off your website. No. So it is a little confusing for a visitor. So it's not that we want to divorce ourselves from the county altogether. We would just like to have a page that was dedicated specifically to our endeavors.
And be a good reflection of the county, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think with just a little tweaking, we can get what they want and still have the continuity of the home page that we wanted to
Right.
strive for. But then with just one more click, it takes you to all of your information that you can update on a regular basis.
So you would be okay with us moving to a full screen wow factor? Paul sets up the template, and then you trust us enough to upload what we want on there, because our uploads are, daily or weekly.
Patty does a good job of keeping
Yeah.
things uploaded on the current website. So, I mean, that's
We
not a
use
problem.
it. We can't, we do use it to the most that we possibly can right now. There's so much more that we can do.
More importantly, does the IT department trust them that that's not
Yeah,
going
I mean,
to
they're
interfere?
limited. I mean, there are some limitations on what they can do. They can't get into the structure and change things, and they can't put anything that doesn't meet morality type issues.
Right, which would
To
be
what-
bad
to
for
the kind
us
of
as well
program.
as bad for you.
So, I would say maybe what we need to do is build the template and have you guys look it over, and then we can tweak it before we make a final decision. Does that make sense? Now, when we start talking about this, I told Sue best case scenario would be 1st of January, worst case would be end of January with the jail and all these other projects, so before we'd really have a solid template, but we could sure do a template, sit down, and I'll work with Patty and Sue and get the thing so it's a visible look for you guys to look at. Because if you make the exception, then I'm sure the fair will come in and ask for the same exception.
And
Which would be the other one that's going to be.
We realize that, we are doing, opening a door.
So point of clarity, when you are on the Brown County's homepage and you click museum, is it another click away before what we're
No, if you
talking
go to
about?
Dakota
Or are
Prairie-
you saying that when you go directly to the museum, we're getting rid of the top?
Well,
We're changing what we...
when you first go there, when you type in Dakota Prairie Museum, you would take you right to where you go to now, but then have a link of Dakota Prairie Museum home button, so the next click takes you
Gotcha.
to your
So
full-blown
it's still
page.
with...
So
First
it's-
thing they see is still our.
They go
Yeah.
to the county.
Yeah, so a good example of that kind is the Siouxland Heritage Museum. You know, if you go to Minnehaha County, they're listed, but then if you go to Siouxland Heritage Museums, there is no more county business on that page. But yet, you can get back to the county page from there.
And certainly, we can have that link that goes back and forth.
Sure.
But generally, people have county business at that particular time. They may at other times.
Right.
And if they're on the county website and they see that we're part of the county, and they'll say, oh, that's right, I wanted to check that out too. So it's,
It could be a win.
It's good.
It could be win-win. But we definitely wanted to come and get your view on this
Yep, I think,
before we move
I think
forward.
that'll be a good compromise. We'll keep the initial click and then do whatever you want on the second one.
Okay. And then, like Paul said, we can get a working copy so that we can bring it in, show you what we have in mind before you.
Before we publish it live.
Yeah, absolutely.
Take the big steps and do it in.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of doing the online payment if we can get there some. I know we do it for other things.
Yeah.
We basically have that set up already.
Okay.
It's just not.
Yeah,
On their
online
page.
registration.
Yeah, it's not quite tweaked so that we can use it, but
You know, the ARC uses online registration
Yeah.
for their activities. We have things going on all the time that we want people to register for. ARC Camp, History Camp, Mondays at the museum in March. So we would love to have a way for them to do that. And that's how they expect to register for things now. Young parents,
So,
even old parents.
all right, any other questions for the ladies? Well, thank you.
well,
Appreciate
thank you.
it.
We'll get busy and we will be back.
All right.
Sounds good.
Appreciate
Okay.
it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll talk.
Can I ask?
Yes.
If there's time, can we do, I have one little contractual question for the commission, if we go into exec, or do you want me to come back at the end of the meeting?
We have people, let's come back if you don't
Okay.
mind at the end,
No,
just because
not
we
a
have
problem.
folks waiting to talk on.
Come back at the end.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That brings us to 9 o'clock. We have a right away from Matt Fonder. Is somebody from the highway department with us?
No, they're not. I was asked to present this for
Okay.
Dirk, who had another commitment. Basically, this is the same site that your ordinance rezone site was on East Shore Drive. They're looking to put a 4-inch PVC bore through East Shore Drive to create a drain line from the home area to a drain pit, and the Richmond Sanitary District has already approved this also, and so that he's just looking for approval on this right away occupancy.
Okay with Dirk, is it?
Yes, and it's okay with the highway department.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Motion by Sutton, seconded by Fishbeck. Any questions on that?
Does that affect anybody else as far as the?
No, it's just a direct line going right to the pit.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Motion carries. Thanks, Gary. That brings us to our next issue. We've got Mary Worley, Director of Equalization. You're going to talk agricultural numbers with us.
Ooh,
We could go
yes.
so many places.
Yeah, we could. A few things. I want to start with, pass this around. I think I've got plenty of copies. Yeah, I've got plenty of copies. Everybody want a copy? You want one, Gary?
Sure.
Okay. What this is, these numbers, Brown County has a little star. This is the numbers we get from the state. It was more important in the past. It says who's limited countywide and who's unlimited. And it is both crop and grass numbers. And this is the first year we have not had a limitation. So, in effect, it looks like we are at the top of productivity on both crop and grass. And I included all the counties just for reference. So the second page of this sheet is all the other counties. But the third page is where it starts to get interesting. Because this is the crops they are considering. And it starts with 2000, and on that third page it goes to 2009. And then if you go to the next page, 2015 does not have but 3 crops: wheat, soybeans, and corn. Well, flip back to 2000 and it has significantly more. There's 8 crops considered there. South Dakota, Brookings is running into problems with people reporting. They're not getting the data. Imagine that.
From who? Farmers?
Farmers.
Just used against us, so I don't get data.
Planted all purposes is
no one
how many
ever thought
acres
that
were
would
planted
happen.
of each crop.
Of those crops that are reported, yes. And so I think one of the next page tells the income, the Olympic average for the next, each year. And I want you to pay particular attention to these numbers over here in the upper left-hand corner. Starting in 2000, the Olympic average was $175. Now follow that down and you think, whoa, 2012 was a good year. Was a good year. $7 corn. Good production. Well, that top year is going to always get thrown out. But more important, start at 2015 and count back 8 years. You're going to throw out one of the $381 as the lowest year, and you throw out the $812. 32 is the highest year. And then this keeps stepping forward. Now, I expect 2016 production numbers won't come out until next June. I expect them to be similar to 2015, but we're going to drop off. Our lowest year will be 381.32, and that will get thrown out. We're going to go up again next year, even though now we're at full productivity, because we're getting further and further away from those low years. And you can see the averages, the cash rents for grass, which they're having problems with that because they are not collecting cash rents. NASS is not collecting cash rents, but every 2 years now. So we have a real information bottleneck coming on to us. We could have 0 in here and it's going to get thrown out. We have 0 one year in Brown County, and it's going to be a disaster. We got a tough year coming up this next year.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people talking
And
about
they're
that.
wondering, when are we going down? When are we going down, Mary? Well, we're not. Next year we will go up unless the 2016 production year is lower than 415.
Yeah, it won't be.
And it won't be.
About this, I agree with what I said is 15.
Yeah.
No.
But we're going to go up again next year. We're
And then
going
we
up-
may start plateauing for 3-4 years, possibly,
Right.
depending on the yields of corn.
And we will go down when that 614 drops off.
Right.
But that's a few years down the road. Because you've got the highest and lowest going out, and you've also got time. So I just want you guys to know where all these numbers are coming from. The last page is just the sheet we get from Department of Revenue, telling us what our top crop and our top range is. There's on the top section, that number 7, the weighted rating of crop-rated soil. And then number 7 on the bottom is the weighted rating of grass-rated soil. Those are somewhat important numbers. You know, we use them.
Where do those ones come from?
That's the soil survey numbers, what the average rating of all the soil surveys. Not average,
Is
it's,
that an updated soil survey then?
no,
Is that survey?
that's the one we got.
From when?
Way back when, isn't it?
70s, 80s.
Early 80s.
I was thinking it was the 80s that they were out there doing
So-
it on the farm.
Right, so I just want you guys to not have any surprises with this. And this is where the numbers are coming for. If you want to drill down deeper, we can drill down deeper. But just looking at the other counties,
So you're saying next year it's gonna go up 9%?
I don't know what it's going to go up. It'll go up again,
I wouldn't expect 9%.
but a 5% even?
What's this 9% mean then?
That means I get to go up 9.09%. The number that I got this year is 9.09% higher
That's what I
than
was
last
talking
year.
about.
Yeah,
The one they're gonna get next time from last year.
Right, okay,
9%.
yeah.
Yeah, 17 will be 9%.
Yeah.
but if you look at that same thing, look at what the grass is doing. The grass is going up as well, almost 4%. But that's been going up 2, 3, 4%, and cropland has been going up 25, 15, 10.
Talk
Okay.
about those first two columns on page 1, 2016 equalized crop. Define, what is that? What,
Okay,
equalized?
equalized means taxable value is at 85%.
Okay.
On farmland, if I apply these numbers, it's the assumption I'm at 100%. This is 100%. Taxable is 85. Now I'm going to let you in on a little aside the fact here. This is all ag. Farm buildings get a 15% rollback. Farm shops, farm bins, they get a 15% rollback with the ag land. Houses do not. They're non-ag. They follow the non-ag factor. We could choose not to put that 9% increase on. And then instead of having a 15% rollback, we'll have a 6% rollback. Your farm buildings are paying more if we would do that. And I don't want it, I want this to be as clear as possible, as clear as it can be. Does that answer your question, Rachel?
And then when you go on to 2017 productivity crop equalized, that's at the 85 for next year.
Yeah. And then you need to divide it by your county average, because every county has a different average. Every soil survey is unique to its county. What else I have for you? I'm going to run out of, no, I might not. This is the legislation that passed, or that came out of committee, and it talks about redefining what's ag. And I think there's some interesting things in this. They want ag to be not, it's still 2 out of the 3, but the main purpose of agriculture,
Oh, never mind.
the main purpose of agricultural land is it must produce an agricultural product. Number 1, if you can't produce an agricultural product, you don't need it. Has to produce an agricultural product, although they wouldn't define that. But I'm pretty sure horses don't make it. And then, if you look on page 2, this is where it gets real interesting. 10 and 11, when they talk about 5 years, gross income. Gross income from the land of both landlord and tenant. I don't look forward to that.
No kidding.
If they don't tell us what they're planning, they're not going to hand us over an income tax schedule out. This is the bill that passed out of committee. So just a heads up. Also, there's draft legislation on riparian rights. This is little strips along creeks and rivers.
In the paper today about
Yep,
Governor's Fort now.
yep. Wasn't last year, but is this year. And Jean pushed the pencil this morning, and what did you come up with?
The Prairie Rights, what it does is it gives a 40% reduction on the soils that are within 150 feet of the riparian high water mark right of way. So if you look at Brown County, our average crop rated soil is assessed at 25.19 per acre. Our average soil, our average ag land is assessed according to the handout from the state at 21.72 per acre. So if you have an imaginary quarter of land running through Warner Township in the Warner District with a creek that runs through it, relatively straight, so it's a half-mile long, and you have 150 feet on each side that you claim. You can claim riparian for 300 feet by a half mile is 18.18 acres out of that quarter. If you assume 20 acres out of that quarter, and you assume that that entire quarter is assessed at 25.19 per acre, and you reduce those 20 acres by 40%, your tax bill in our imaginary quarter of land, Warner School District, Warner Township, originally would come in at $3,623.16 for the quarter. If that's reduced, that would come in at $3,442.01 for the reduction. So actually, if you come in and you claim your 20 acres of riparian reduction, that would give you a reduction of $181.15 on that quarter of land.
Can you say those? It was 36.23 and
36.23.16,
and
and it would go to 34.42.01 if you claim those 20 acres, and that is saying that is the average soil type for Brown County at its average rating at the current cost. Typically, your stuff along your waterways is going to be sub-average. So this is probably assuming a high, what the high savings would be on an imaginary quarter of land. If you had this creeks wind and meander, so it'd probably be more than a half a mile of creek. But if it was a straight line, 150 feet on each side, that's 18 acres. If you assume 20, that the work to go through to come in and report your acres
yearly, plant your cover crop or your covered soil 150 acres out of or 150 feet out of your right of way would save you roughly $180.
In my opinion, it's a joke.
On the on that imaginary quarter of land, and that's if you're running through and you're got a buffer strip on both sides of the creek. In the past, a lot of counties, Department of Revenue and everything were worried about how much taxes you'd be losing or how much you'd be lost to this. This year, they reported yesterday, they kind of went through their numbers, and Revenue pretty much said it was a negligible amount, and that's kind of what I had come up with last year when we were afraid of how much we'd lose. But if it's there, we'll do it. If it goes through, we'll run the numbers and make the changes. But
if it's grass, it has to be fenced.
Yeah, you can't. If it's grass, you can't graze it from May to September. So you have to fence it.
You have to
away.
fence it. So why would
I
you
got a
want
quarter
to do
just like
that?
they're talking about. It's a joke.
Yeah.
So,
So it's not an imaginary parcel in Warner Township.
Well, that's why we picked Warner.
Yeah.
I stay back now. I don't farm it very close to.
And this is one of the things that was brought up in the meeting. Anybody that is a really good steward of the land is not farming up to the creek bed. They are staying back. One guy on there, Lyle Perman, is a big conservationist, says the only thing wrong with 150 is it should have been 5,280, to really keep the soil runoff. But that's not what is done. And it makes a difference if you have, if you think of the Jim River bottom between here and Groton, where it kind of goes down and is, is a big flat river bottom, or if you're you have a high, sharp bank, then it's a
Yeah.
big difference. A big difference. So, and we've looked at the soils on this type of thing, and only certain streams qualify, and it's a yearly application. So, all right, the last thing I have is, one of the committee members asked for this, is the median ag assessment for all counties for the last 2 or 4 years. And this is where we are assessing ag land. If you look at Brown County, we are, this last year on 19 sales, we're assessing at 29.8% of the market. And if you look at 24, we're at 14, we're at 24, and you can click back. But I find it really interesting if you look at Custer County. They're at 6.1%. If you look at Lawrence, they're 2.8.
You're the reason we got this, right?
Absolutely. Pennington, Pennington's up to 3.1. But some of these counties, it's the Black Hills are not. Buffalo, look at Buffalo, 121.1. Whoa. One sale. If there was 15 sales, I wouldn't want to be that director. Because you cannot assess over market. So, and you can see we've got some counties in the 60s and 40s. What happens when we get those counties in the 90s and 100s? Do we flip one county? What does that do to the school aid formula on overlapping school districts?
Well, we have some like Day and Marshall, they're up there. Edmonds, 47.
Yep.
Day, 56.
And that's not looking at the 16 sales. My statistical numbers say I'm at 40%. I went from 30 to 40%. Part of that's the increase in value, part of that's drop in ag land. This is informational stuff, you guys. I don't want you guys blindsided by any of this stuff when people ask you, especially because I'm hearing it now. When are we going the other way, Mary?
It's good stuff.
Good information.
Does anybody have any other questions for Mary on this?
Just one thing with the 8-year Olympic average, taking 8 years at a time it makes the assessments go up a lot slower when the values are going up, but it also makes them come down slower.
Yeah, that's true. Yep, farmers out there are starting to feel pretty pinched by these taxes.
And we have reached the ceiling. Actually, had we been at the ceiling last year, our top would have come down about $10 an acre from last year to this year. So we are to a point where it is kind of plateauing. We did drop off one lower number to make that this year, but if we start replacing higher with lower, I don't expect we come down again next year because there's another lower number that has to come off. But had we been at the number last year already, this year we would have actually seen about a $10 an acre reduction.
Okay, any other questions from the commissioners?
And if you guys look at this and want to come in and visit about it, I mean, this is a lot of stuff thrown at you. So we're more than happy to visit about it anytime.
I just have one question on the proposed legislation here that's not marked draft. On page 2, line 9, 10, 11, if there's a crop share arrangement or cash rent agreement, right now, do you have access to that information, whether it's share crop or cash rent on any parcel?
We have nothing.
So that would be something, another requirement of somebody to provide you for you to use in the calculation. If this would pass, is that a fair statement?
To get to the income requirement?
Right.
Yeah, you'd have to probably verify income somehow or other.
Of both the landlord and the tenant.
Yeah, probably.
So for all these people that rent out their land, They're not gonna give you the
Be the
gross
only way to do
income.
it.
Schedule F.
That's,
Well,
And you have to have permission.
You'd have to be
get
forced into it somehow.
Yeah,
by law.
exactly.
Only if you want it.
right.
This is ag criteria.
Yep.
And I do not want anybody's Schedule F in my
Right.
office. I don't want to see anybody's Schedule F.
Exactly.
Some years I don't want to see my own.
Okay, is there any questions from the folks in attendance today?
All right, thank you.
All
Paul?
right. Thank
Paul, you were there.
Yeah, Paul.
Yeah, I sat there yesterday. I think I've got to sit down with Mary on a couple of the issues. The thing that my comment that I would make is you're looking at the market, and like you just said, if we can't assess anything over market. We're not there yet. In a few counties are getting close. But if we would be under the market system, you'd be following the up and downs on how you value it too off the market.
Certainly, if you're
Quicker
calling,
though.
It'd be quicker. It'd be a quicker response, but what would have been the response, or what would be the taxable value of this land today with the market 3 years ago? I mean,
Well-
and that's
Well-
what I'm coming back to.
Yeah, my point with this whole thing has always been, we're solving a tax problem on the integrity of the valuations. I think the valuations should be the valuations. If you want to fix the taxes, there's
Yeah.
two factors here.
That's what I always felt too.
We got a mill levy that, play with your mill levy.
And of course, I've said it from the get-go, if we wouldn't be funding education off of property, we wouldn't have this battle, but
Well,
that's
it's
a
here.
different
That's a
story.
different battle,
the thing
yeah.
is with
The
the
battle all along, there's a lot of states that don't use ag land to fund education.
with the volatile market, though, you can't probably, but the issue is beginning is you can't plan year to year. You can't plan out 3 or 4 years into the future. This you can pretty much see where it's going to be. I mean, even as we were going up, you knew that 3 years down the line we were going to be at this number because we were going up 25% at a time. Whereas with the market, 3 years ago our top stuff would have been assessed at $10,000, $11,000. This year it'd probably be assessed at $6,000, $7,000, and you don't have any. I mean, it would be what it would be, but there's no way to plan for, that steady knowledge of what's coming up.
And that's why they went to an 8-year Olympic average.
Correct.
You never had to do something like that with market.
Yeah, you'd have to stretch the market out too.
So,
Okay, well, thank you guys very much. Appreciate you
Thanks for
taking the
going to
time to
meeting
put them
yesterday.
together.
Yep.
although I'm not involved, I'm still interested.
You're involved all right when you write your check.
Although I don't pay any taxes anymore, I turn it all over to the son.
All right.
That work okay? Maybe I should try that.
All right, I would
Is that
entertain a
a good
motion
way
to
to
go
do it,
into
Tom?
a quick
Well, yeah.
exec session for a contractual matter.
So moved.
Moved by Sutton,
Second.
also.
second by
And
Feldman, so
personnel.
it's contractual and personnel, if that's okay, guys?
After we have
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are in exec.
I'm glad you
Okay, we are back in session. Action as a result of exec. We had talked about a couple of bids or informal proposals we got for copy machines.
I would make a motion to reject the 2 quotes that we received for the copier and direct the IT department to write up a new specifications and do a needs assessment on what we need and what the requirements are, the specifications for the machine that we're looking for, based on the need.
Okay, is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
Motion by Sutton, seconded by Hanson. Any questions on that? And we'll be reaching out to the departments to see the ones that specifically use it the most to see if we need 2 machines in each one, if we need 1 big one, so. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Motion carries. Other than that.
We just received one more letter from the Sheriff's Department. I don't know if you want to make an amendment to today's meeting since these people are starting as of tomorrow, or if you want to wait till next week, that's up to you. But this one we already had on today's HR report.
We'd like the board's approval to hire, is it Mary Flack as a part-time home detention officer, replacing Rachel Wilson, who transferred to full-time correction officer for JDC as of October 10th of 16. Mary's starting date will be the 19th at a wage of $13.77 per hour. We'd also like to request the board's approval to hire Robert Caputo as a part-time home detention officer. Robert will be trained to replace Yvonne Ayala, who has expressed interest in resigning soon due to recently getting married. Robert's starting date will be the 19th at $13.77. I'll entertain a motion to amend our HR report to include those.
I move it.
Moved by Feldheim,
Second.
seconded by Hanson. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Motion carries. All right, let's roll back to Max's list.
Okay, the unclaimed property list, the report, there are $388.69 worth of uncashed checks we'll be submitting.
Moved by Feldheim, seconded by Fishbeck. Questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Motion carries.
Claim assignments?
Move. Second.
Moved by Hanson, seconded by Sutton. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Motion carries.
Phase 3 jail project, approved contingency update number 6.
Okay, everybody get the chance to read through that. I'd entertain a motion.
Move.
Moved by Feldheim,
Second.
seconded by Sutton. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Motion carries.
Authorize Mike Scott, landfill manager, sign lease with Jacobs.
Move it.
Moved by Fishbeck,
Second.
seconded by Hanson. So are we plugging in the 500 a year? Is that what we agreed on?
Okay, I have a question on the other, okay, there's 18 dump sites and release others. Should there be a lease agreement and insurance on those also?
That would be Mr. Lovern's.
Well, you know, a lot of these you've leased for decades and there's been no issue. I suppose as they come up, it'd be nice to memorialize them.
Okay.
But as far as insurance, I don't know what the landlord's responsibility is when they lease to us. We're, as the tenants, it's sort of our responsibility to have insurance, I think. And if the landlord doesn't care if we have it or not, then why bother with that? But we should probably memorialize these with some sort of uniform agreement at some point as they come up again.
Okay, so.
I guess my question would be, does this go against what we've been trying to do, have the chairman sign contracts and leases?
I wondered about that.
Versus, I mean, the department head has no legal authority to,
Sure.
in my opinion, and we've tried to move towards having the chair sign leases and contracts.
I think that's my observation, you know, 4 years I've been here, is that's what you've been trying to do. I suppose you can always authorize somebody to do it, but if the standard practice is to have the chair do it, then that's probably what you ought to continue to do.
Okay.
Gary would have to answer that. But
We're talking about the chair signing instead of delegating others.
So they need to change the rental agreement to say chair on it?
Yeah, and I can just write it in and do it.
Oh, that's fine too then.
And then as periodically as other sites come up, that maybe we should have something in writing
Sure.
for those too.
Okay.
So maybe look into that, what other sites we have leased land.
okay, so that'd be Tom and Nancy to authorize Rachel to sign.
Yep.
Any other questions?
So these other sites that we're leasing is the county listed them as insurance, there is just no insurance on that
Because, I
property
mean,
at
what
all?
would we have, renter's insurance?
Well, I guess I don't know, but I can see.
We use them.
What happens if a citizen trips and falls on that land when they're dumping their leaves?
You know,
Well,
it's
we should have
basically-
some insurance on that.
You know, we as people that rent land from somebody, we have liability insurance for
Right,
that land
yeah.
renter. I guess my question would be, does the county have some type of liability coverage for those sites? Because,
I don't
you know, if people had an accident there.
Gary, can you call
Or
South
they
Dakota
dump
Public
I
chemicals.
did already
Right.
once, I haven't
Then
heard
also
back
it
from it.
becomes
I gave
the
it to
owner's
Sarah and I
the
thought
owner's
she
property.
was
We should have
taking
some
care of
liability.
it, but
Well, the owner would have the liability,
Yeah.
which, and I'm sure he doesn't want that.
I'm sure they don't. Worth checking into.
You said you did provide it to Sarah when
Yeah.
you found out? Okay.
yeah, she had the legal and she said she was going to take care of it, so I don't know.
But I don't know about the other sites.
Yeah, that I need
Yeah.
to check into.
Oh, okay. Yeah, check with public insurance lines and see if it would be in our best interest to
Sure.
have some kind of
Yep, I have
liability
a call
coverage.
into 'em.
Good, good.
Okay, so we've got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Motion carries. anything else your way?
No.
Okay. Gary, did you have anything else for us?
Nope. Good.
All right. Anything else from the commissioners? How about the folks in attendance? Anything? Nothing? Okay. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Feldheim. Seconded by Hanson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Motion carries. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
See you tonight.